Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to the podcast. This is a conversation with Ari. I'm your host, Ari. And this is a conversation podcast where it's just two guys having a conversation about life. I've got my very good friend here with me today, the Beej. Do you want to say hi?
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you.
Good, fantastic. So, Beej, something very, important happened to me recently, believe it or not. I recently turned 28 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. I mean, just saying the number 28, it just sounds old. Do you know what I mean?
It does.
You're supposed to be the
Briefly.
devil's advocate. You're supposed to say, no, you're not old. You're still young in your
You're,
20s.
you're getting old, Ari.
That's
Okay.
oh
All those grey hairs.
dear. Okay. I mean, I swear, just yesterday, I was 18 years old. And then now 28. Like, it's just going by a bit too quickly.
Yeah.
And I think the worrying thing is when you're a kid, you think, oh, you see, like, someone's 28 years old, you think, oh, that's an established adult right there. That person knows what they're doing with their life. you know that person knows what they want to do. But actually, when you actually turn 28, you realize, I have no idea, no idea whatsoever. I mean, is that normal?
I'm sure you know more than you let on, and it's a good thing that you don't turn 18 to 28, in an instant. Otherwise, that would be a disaster. But,
No.
you've had 10 years to slowly prepare, slowly get to this point. All your
The,
life.
that's the worrying thing. Is it 10 years? I should have had a bit more of a clearer idea of what's going on. But anywho, I mean, to be fair, this is all kind of based on the premise of a good joke by Joe Rogan. I'm not sure if you've come across Joe Rogan in any capacity.
Is he some sort of fighter?
He commentates for the UFC, I believe, and he also
Okay.
has done like stand-up comedy and things in the past.
Okay.
And he has this joke. So I have to credit him. I can't steal the joke. But he's talking about the pyramids, the Great Pyramids of Egypt, right? And essentially, he feels as though the human race at some point used to be super intelligent, right?
Mhm.
Because the way the pyramids were made, they took these kind of the stones that weighed tons from a quarry like miles and miles away without the modern machinery that we have today to build something, right?
Yeah.
And they were able to carry these tons of rock and into the perfect shape of like a pyramid, right? And make it face exact northeast, south, and west, kind of all geometrically kind of sound, like thousands of years ago. And this is from the people that believed that there was a god that carried the sun across the sky in a boat, you know. And he basically goes that, we're surrounded by a bunch of technology that we don't actually understand. For example, your phone, it's got a camera in it, right?
Hmm.
And all I know is I press a button and the camera takes a picture of what I'm seeing in front of me. What happens between me kind of pressing that button and taking the picture is anyone's guess. Like, how does that work? So
Yeah. Some sort of magic.
yeah, exactly. So I think we're surrounded by a bunch of technology and things that we don't quite fully understand, but we use it and we kind of depend on it. And the kind of joke he says is like, if I left you in the woods, say in the jungle,
Mm.
with just a hatchet, like some kind of axe, right, just to chop some wood, okay, how long would it be between that and you sending me an email? How long would it take you to go from in the woods, jungle, and a hatchet, chopping down trees,
Yeah.
to develop the system by which you could send me an email?
A very, very long time.
No, absolutely. So I think, we're surrounded by a bunch of things I don't understand, and I feel like, I'm an adult now. I'm 28. I feel like I should know a bit more, and I don't, and it's quite worrying. But anyway, so what's been happening with you?
Yeah, just work, working and
The adult life, yeah.
adult life. Yeah, I'm not as adult as you. You mentioned a big thing happened recently. You're 28, but what about getting married? That's a
Oh
pretty
yes, yes.
thing.
That's another thing. Yeah. No, you know what? That's probably one of the good kind of highlights in my life.
Yeah,
And yeah, kind of planning the life from there onwards.
surely that's a big marker of growing up.
Growing up, I think it'll hit me one day. One day I'll feel as though grown
It
up.
still hasn't hit you? Wow.
No,
Okay.
it'll come. So let's talk about what's been in the news recently. We're in the first week of January. It's been a new year, 2019 we're in,
Yeah.
and it's January now. So kind of just to kind of ask you, what does that mean to you? January, New Year, when you think of that and you think about your life in that context, what does that mean to you?
Mm. Well, it does mean like a new start, but
Mm,
again, you don't want to be the cliche that I'm going to start all these New Year's resolutions, be
okay.
amazing, and then fail in the first month. But it is quite nice, to have a clean slate and like to have some aims, some goals that you can try and start this year.
Yeah. Do
Um,
do you feel as though, so you mentioned, you get a clean slate. Do you feel as though you kind of like, you put a line under 2018 and you leave all that stuff behind there, and you feel as though you can just have a fresh start now? You can kind of move on. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, sort of. A fresh start with building upon more of building upon last year and moving on
Yeah.
forward. Yeah, so in that way, I'm not going to reinvent myself
No.
in 2019, but just to build on all the positives, and then it gives you a chance to clear out any dust and start afresh.
Yeah, no, I think that's quite sensible. I think also what helps is a lot of people are in a similar boat. So if you're wanting to have a fresh start with someone or a friend or something, I think people are a lot more kind of in a forgiving mood, and they'll be like, look, it's a fresh new year. Let's see what we can kind of do. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, everyone's at work and stuff very positive. Some people starting their diets and whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, no, and you mentioned about these New Year's resolutions and
Mm.
how they often fail within the first month. I mean, why do you think that is? Why do you think lots of people make New Year's resolutions? It's popular to do so, and people
Yeah.
often announce it. They'll just say, "Oh, this is my New Year's resolution. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna start running. I'm gonna start doing this." But they don't, it doesn't seem to follow through. Why do you think that's the case?
I think there's a few reasons. I think
Oh
a lot
yeah.
of people they overestimate what they can do, and they're very ambitious with
Hmm.
their goals.
Hmm.
Uh, I don't know, something like I want to go to the gym every day. When you've maybe gone to the gym 3 times last year, it's not a very realistic goal.
Yeah.
So I think you need to start small. That's number one. Number two is with any goal, you need to create a habit, and then with habits, there are certain things that you need to do. And you need to keep it up, like
Consistency, yes.
consistency. And like they say, it takes 30 days to build a habit. So you need to be. So if you even if you have a small goal, let me do something every day for 7 days, and
Uh-huh.
then extend it. If you can get to that 30-day habit streak, then you're on a good pathway. Um, yeah.
And what's
Yeah.
the best way? Oh, thank you. Happy New Year. What's the best way to be consistent with something for 30 days? Because I think people often they can give up in the first month. So what would you suggest they could do to try and motivate themselves to kind of be consistent, I guess?
So I think so. Yeah. Firstly, have a very very
Start off
goal,
small. Okay,
small
start off small.
change,
Yeah.
and then another one. So you said some people announce it. That can be a good thing because you're holding yourself accountable. And then
It
if you
socially commits you, doesn't it? You
exactly, so you
committed socially, so you have to. You can't. Otherwise, you got to show face, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Otherwise,
Okay.
you'll humiliate and embarrass yourself if you don't do it. That one would be to track it. So you either write it on your calendar that you've done it today. So it'll be like a visual reminder. And you've got all these apps that you can track it, and then you can set reminders to do that.
Okay.
I'm using one called Habit Share, which is
Oh,
quite good.
okay. Is this our first plug of the podcast? Habit share. Is it a free download? Come on.
It is free. It's
Oh,
free.
on which platform? With which mobile? Is it
I'm on Android, so I'm not.
Android?
I
What
haven't
about?
checked if it's on iOS or not. but like the app's quite good because you can share it with other friends. I've got a few friends who are already on it, so they can actually
Oh,
see. So if they're committed as well,
yes.
they can see how you're doing on your habits as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
and
quite
then
cool actually. It's something you can do together with someone.
exactly, and then you can prompt them, you can annoy them, or you haven't done this, you haven't done that. Or you can encourage them to pick it up.
How come I'm not your friend on this on this habit app?
I've been saving to tell you for this
Oh,
very
okay. Oh,
moment.
you're waiting for this moment on the podcast.
Exactly,
Oh,
exactly.
nice, nice. Okay, I mean, I think what you hit upon there is the kind of tracking and checking that you're doing it. Because I think similarly, I feel the New Year's resolutions, they're often kind of set as kind of aims without being like a specific goal. So someone might say, my New Year's resolution is to spend kind of more time with my family or just something like that. Because they may have felt in the last year they probably were not spending as much time with their family. But it's, as a goal, it needs to be kind of, as you say, like smart, like specific, measurable, attainable. The R and T stand for something as well, and and yeah, it needs to be something that you can measure that you've actually done, because then that way whether you're doing it or not. If it's too general and you have no way to know if you've done it, I think that will be something that can hold you back from.
The R&T are realistic and time based.
Oh, so this is why you're on the podcast. You bring in the big bucks, yes. Realistic and timely, yes. It's got to have a time. You got to have an expectation. Okay, and kind of.
Just one more
Oh
thing.
yeah, guys.
Is to so you might not, you might forget one day that you haven't done your goal or your resolution, but it's not to give up, not to despair. I think.
Okay. Yes. Positive. Yeah.
Forgive yourself or accept it, and then carry on, do your best, and carry on going.
Okay. No, I think that's absolutely a good point, and I like your idea with the app where you can share it with your friends or family, so that when you are feeling a bit low, then someone can kind of just encourage you and actually kind of push you in a good way and get you back onto the horse to kind of keep on going. So that seems like a really good idea, actually. I think I'll need to download. What was the app called again?
It's called Habit Share.
Habit Share. Okay, fantastic. Really,
It's
really
already
good.
reminding me to do my today's habit, which I haven't done yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Would you mind sharing this habit share with us on the podcast, or is it quite personal?
Oh no, it's
Okay.
just so the main one I want to start this month is journaling. So just some thoughts about the day that I've had, and I've never really done it before. So and I think it's a quite nice way just to reflect on the day, see what stands out to you, record it, and then in some time in the future maybe have a flick back, and I was like, oh, okay, I did that this day or whatever. And I think a few things with journaling, you get to write it down. So writing is a creative process. You can argue it's therapeutic as well. And you're recording, like your own history.
So you're kind of your memoirs.
Exactly.
Like Sir Francis Drake. Now, I'm joking.
Well, I don't think the literacy standard is quite there, but hopefully over time you develop, and then we'll see how it goes.
I think it's quite good to do something to kind of track time because I started off the podcast talking about how the last 10 years have kind of just gone. I saw a tweet the other day where it was quite a silly tweet. It just says, "Can you name one notable thing from 2013?" And I had to think, like it completely stymied me. I was like, 2013, what the hell happened in 2013? Like I just
Yeah,
had to think back, like what can I tangibly hold on to say, oh, that was a highlight of 2013. Like it's such a ambiguous kind of year. Like I'd
yeah,
have to really think deeply. But I think if you're writing down, like you say, these kind of thoughts and things, you can actually look back to 2013's logs, and you can see that personal growth in your, I guess, your way of thinking, isn't it?
yeah, yeah,
Ah. And I think maybe something like some kind of photograph as well would be quite good as well, because then you can have like you can those little animation cartoon books where you kind of flick the pages and you can kind of see, you can kind
uh,
of do one of yourself over the years. You just like flick and you can like pinpoint, oh, when I was 54 years old was when the hair started falling out of my head. Oh.
uh,
So,
how about you? We're talking about New Year's habits and resolutions. Have you started any this month?
yes, I have actually. I'm actually my resolution was to start a podcast. So
Okay.
we're we're kind of we're doing it right now. So
Okay, good.
yeah, I think it's a good idea to I think when you're among kind of friends, mates, you actually have some really good conversations, like some really good kind of just about life and about things, and or sometimes if you're not, you often think about things, like you said, you're writing down your thoughts of the day, right? You're
Mm,
having these thoughts and perspectives on life, and sometimes I just think it's good to just talk about it with someone else and actually bounce off ideas to see, does someone else think the same way about this, or can someone else play devil's advocate so I can kind of build upon this kind of thought or idea that I have. So I think in a weird way, we're kind of addressing a similar thing, but in different ways. What would you say about that?
yeah, definitely.
That's quite interesting. I think that's quite interesting.
Maybe that's why we're such good friends.
Oh
Yeah.
dear. um,
Uh,
so
I think I think it's a really good point because you and me, uh, we don't talk, every day or even weekly.
no,
But like we had a recent meetup, and I found that um, very helpful. Just reflecting your ideas and just getting someone else's opinion on it, and
absolutely.
you have time in between, for life events to happen, so you can talk about that, and so it's like it's almost like a deeper conversation.
Yeah, it's a better conversation. It's quite rich as well, and it's got lots. We had like lots of different things that we spoke about as well, which is quite cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to get to some of the messages we've coming in, because obviously a few people knew about the podcast and they were quite supportive as well. I'm gonna anonymize the names and the locations just for anonymity. So let's just Dave from Newcastle. So obviously, so he says, first of all, hi guys, great podcast, big fan. Um, so New Year's resolution to get fit and healthy, which is quite common, right? Um,
Mm.
if if you could, so this is for both of us, if you could pick one exercise to do consistently to stay fit and healthy, what would you choose and why? That's a good question, I thought. So
Mm.
if you're, so people trying to get fit and healthy, New Year's resolutions, they've possibly indulged over the Christmas period, um, and they said if you could do one exercise consistently, which one would you choose and why?
Okay. Do you want me to have a crack?
Yeah, me go. I think I have an idea, but
Okay.
yeah, but you go ahead.
It's interesting. Very specific. You said exercise, but I would, Firstly, I think if you're going to get fit and healthy, you have to look at your diet.
Okay, yes.
That's going to be 90% of of the changes in your
Okay.
body to lose weight. Okay, but that's not answering his question.
No,
But
okay.
exercise-wise, it would be something you enjoy, like any activities that you enjoy. Say you enjoy running or badminton or cycling. If you just do something like that, so it's very personal, something you enjoy, it won't be as
Yes.
labor intense.
Mm.
That's what I would. That's what I would do. Something you
Just
enjoy.
something that you enjoy. So, because I think then that's when you're hitting on that consistency, which is what we've spoken about earlier, to kind of yeah. I mean, I was having a think about this question kind of when it come in, and I looked at it more from the approach of something that you can kind of progress in like over time. So something you can start off with not being so great, but something like the more you do it, the better you can kind of get at it, and you can kind of set kind of goals. One of the things I've personally enjoyed is running, especially if you can and you don't have any kind of aches or pains in your kind of joints, in your kind of legs, knees, and ankles and things. If you can run, I think it's a good exercise, because it's something that you can improve your fitness, stamina. You can improve and check how much you're progressing by how much you're running, so how long you're running for. So if you could only run for about 10 minutes, but now after about 6 months you're running for about 45 minutes, you can see that you're getting better at it, and also how quickly you're running or covering a certain distance.
Yeah.
As well.
Right. Yeah. Running's one. There's great ones where you don't need you don't need much at all, and then everyone has a smartphone these days. So and we were talking about tracking and everything like that, and you can get loads of data these days. Like when I go for a run, I put on one of these with Strava. Oh, another plug. You just press track, and then it records. How fast each mile is.
Oh yeah.
Your elevation, your distance.
Okay, you're getting some elevation metrics in there. Okay.
It'll automatically stop when you stop running and restart when you restart running if you take a break. And if you go even more fancy, get one of those heart rate monitors.
Oh yeah, like a Fitbit. Yes.
Yeah. And you and me have both done a half marathon before.
Oh yes.
And I used it. I used one of these apps, to track. And
yeah.
Quite motivating to see, getting fast every week. And you're also being accountable. You can see on the days that you did run or how many runs you did do in a certain week.
So Beej, I'm getting a theme here from you. You're all about this tracking, aren't you? You're all about
yeah.
this tracking and keeping a log.
Like, apps and technology.
Huh? Yeah. No, it's good. I mean, it's and actually, what I would actually go a step further, actually reflecting on the question, I would actually say walking would be a fantastic exercise to do consistently. The only downside with the walking is you often need to carve out a good amount of time for it. But actually, there was a recent program on ITV. I'm not sure if you caught it. It was Britain's 100 most favourite walks, and they were looking all across the UK, kind of even within like kind of London, Peak District, Lake District, Scotland, Wales, Snowdon, Helvellyn, like all these kind of fantastic walks that are there. And I actually remember when I've been to the Lake District, actually walking is one of my most favourite things to actually do. Like just having a good 4-6 hour kind of walk with a nice scenic view. I think it's really kind of good for you, and I'm actually going to plan and go for one later this year. I'll keep you posted. I'll keep you posted.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
I was having a conversation with one of my friends.
A conversation with Ari?
No. Not with Ari.
No.
But he was very into walking. Well, I was trying to convince him to get onto the cycling, but he was very insistent on walking.
Oh yeah.
But he was telling me that in London, the TfL got certain walks that you can do.
Oh yeah.
Like specific walking routes, and I just had a look, and there are some. It's called Walk London. If you just go on the TFL website, and it's got some nice scenic routes in London. If anyone's interested.
I actually got a really good walk to recommend for our listeners in London, actually. If you just give me a moment, I'm just kind of on the computer while we're kind of talking. It was basically this walk from more or less Hammersmith, like kind of West London, all the way to like Limehouse, but it's all along the River Thames. So I'll just get it for you one moment. Here we go. And I'll tell you exactly kind of how kind of long the walk is, and I've not actually done it myself, but I want to do it next time I'm in London because it looked quite cool actually. Yeah. Here we go. When's the last time you kind of went for a good old kind of walk?
It's probably you. Like
oh yeah, we had a walk around Tower Bridge. That's right. Oh yes. Okay. So yeah, I'm planning on going to a good walk around the Lake District. The number one most favourite walk as voted in on the show was Helvellyn in the Lake District.
Okay.
Which I've not done myself before, but I have been to the Lake District, so it sounds quite cool. Okay, let's see if we can get.
Yeah, that's still on my list to go to. The Lake District.
Have you not been to the Lake District?
No, Lake District or Peak District.
Lake District or the Peak.
I can recommend Snowdonia. If you especially like hiking all the mountains in Snowdonia, Scaffold Pike.
Oh yes, Scaffold Pike. Yes. Fantastic. Yeah. So the ones that they've recommended in London, sorry, coming back, is this Regent's Canal walk, which is they've described it as one of London's best kept secrets. It's a peaceful haven, and it's kind of like along the River Thames, and you kind of go across and see most of the capital's main attractions. It's a 14.5 kilometer walk. It's mainly flat ground. It's 9 miles long. So yes, it's supposed to be a really kind of good kind of walk. So that's one I've got on the bucket list there as well. No, fantastic.
Oh, I've been there. It's very nice, actually. Very nice.
Oh, you've okay.
Yeah, I'll take you maybe someday.
Oh yeah, I look forward to it absolutely. But okay, so I think that's probably all we wanted to kind of get through on this first episode of the podcast. We've talked a little bit about New Year's, a little bit about resolutions and some goals, and also about what people at home can be doing to track and kind of improve on their goals and be consistent with them. And I guess we'll see them on the next one.
Yeah, and you can leave some links below in the description.
Links below in the description. Comment, subscribe, like, all that good stuff.
Okay.
Do you want to give any shout outs just before we go?
Yeah, a shout out to you for being such a good host. Thank you.
Oh dear.
Featuring me.
Yeah, likewise, buddy. Okay, I will see you in the next one, guys. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. This is a conversation with Ari. It's a conversation podcast. If you have any questions, anything you want to send in, please leave them in the links down below, and we'll try and get to them next show. All right, guys. See you.